Hey everybody, welcome to episode 4 of the Colorado Knits podcast. I am your host, Carrie, and today is Monday, February 15th. It's a holiday in the United States, President's Day. So thank you for joining me. I'm off work, so I decided to record today. I'm trying to stick to that 1 week schedule, give or take. If you're a new viewer, welcome. Thanks for coming. If you are silly enough to have come back to see maybe some progress on things, I did finish some stuff. So thanks for joining me today. As everybody by now knows, it's mid-February across the country, and that's when things get cold. So it is cold everywhere. I'm not going to go into a big weather report, but I am going to say that my dogs are very unhappy with the cold. They get 2 walks a day, even when it's bitter cold, and they didn't get a walk on Saturday. And they paced all day Saturday. They were just so miserable. They went outside and they played in the backyard quickly, but it's just not the same to them as getting their leashes on and going for a walk. So we managed to go out yesterday twice, but it was very cold. And today I managed to dupe them. I stayed in bed because I did not have to be up. My husband went downstairs to start his work, made coffee, let them out, did all that. They came back, they pawed at me a little bit, they did some things, and then they thought I was sick because I didn't get out of bed. So I convinced them that I was sick and not getting out of bed. And I love my unconditional love I get from my dogs. So they just curled up next to me and I read on my Kindle a little bit and I slept and I slept and I slept. So I took advantage of it. I am not, I don't sleep in. I am a big sleeper. Sleep is my favorite thing. I never have insomnia. I mean, when I do, it's very rare. I have to be super stressed. I actually am on the flip side that I never have energy. So, it was a good excuse to just sleep and sleep and sleep, and that I did. So then we got up, we went out. It was about 9 degrees when we went outside, and we made it to the end of the block and back, and that was it. And that's how far we've made it when it's 1 degree or 9 degrees, because the pavement is just so darn cold still. So the good thing is I live in Colorado. It is super sunny. You can see that sun coming in, and that keeps my mental state a lot better. I don't know that I could live north with a limited amount of sun. The sunshine is what keeps us going here in Colorado, and it also means things melt even when it's 5 below. The snow actually melts because you get that radiant heat just beating down. So that's your weather report here in Northeast Denver, Colorado. But now on to the knitting. So finished objects. I am wearing my first finished object. I actually finished the cable pocket shawl. And I actually put the pockets on. This is sort of the act of God. They are not well sewn on, but they are on, and they don't have holes in them, and my friend will be able to use them, but I love it. It is, you can see it's a big shawl. If you want information on it, go back to the last 2 episodes. I've had show notes about it. I managed to sew the pockets on Saturday, much to my chagrin. It was nothing. It was negligible seaming, and yet I fight seaming all the time. I've had sweaters that sit for years unseamed because I just don't like it. And I know people who love to do it, and I need to just hook up with them and pay them to seam my stuff. If you're one of those people, let me know, because I just am lazy. I will weave in ends, okay? I did get all the ends woven in, and then I yet stared at the pockets. And note that the pockets were 3 seams and then these 2 little seams on the ribbing. It was nothing. It took me like an hour at most, and that's because I'm slow. So I did manage to finish this, and it's going to get a bath. It's acrylic, so it's just going to go in the washer. Block it. I might break the acrylic a little on it and steam block it, but I don't know. I'm just really happy with it. It's super warm. And it did snow in San Antonio last night. My friend got 6 inches or more of snow. It's crazy. So, I mean, she's not going to get it today, so it's not going to help her. But that is my first finished object, and I'm so happy to have that finished. I just have to manage to mail it. The second finished object are the leg warmers. I did a pair of leg warmers. Last week I had 1. This week I have 2. These are blocked because I wore them yesterday, so they're a little stretched out. Excuse me. As I mentioned, I did a 2x2 rib, and then I just took Los Manos Locos, the pattern from that, and made it into a leg warmer. So it's a little stockinette lace, and it's a very simple pattern. Lessons learned, because I will be making many, many more of these. I would do a 1x1 rib, 1x1 twisted rib. I always do those on my socks because they just stay up better to me. I feel that they're tighter, like they just stretch in more. And this was a 2x2 regular rib, and it's fine. It works great. But one sock I did the knit through the back loop bind off, and you can see even though it doesn't flare, it's kind of flared. It's just a little big for my taste. And then on the second one, I took it from 2x2 rib to 1x1, and I did it the proper way where you actually are like twisting stitches behind one another. And then I did a tubular bind off, which is great. A tubular bind off is a Kitchener, and I don't mind it. That wasn't a problem, but I think I would just start by doing a 1x1, and I think I will like my leg warmers more. I love the look of 2x2, but I like the stretch and the contraction on 1x1 twisted. So those are finished, and I've worn them almost every day. And when I did get into my office last Thursday, that was my cutoff, is I had to have them done by Thursday morning because I was going to my office. My office was 52 degrees. Compared to 19, yes, that's wonderful, but that is not really conductive to working. So they did fix my heater. They got it going, but I was glad I had leg warmers. And the third thing that I completed is the Star Signs hat by Star Knits. Actually, this doesn't look bad from a distance. It's not my best color work that I've done. That is my star sign, Pisces. And but if you look at it another way, it looks almost like circles. And she has all of the star signs, so you could do them for your family, for your friends. I put a giant pom-pom on it because it's a pom-pom. And I followed it to pattern, except I did 1x1 twisted rib instead of 1x1 rib on the base. And I love it. And I made it a little bit deeper than I normally make my hats because I always have the problem that my hats are too shallow. So that is the hat. It is super cute. It is super comfortable. I had some merino blend that I used that I had sitting in my stash for years. It's not my colors, but it's comfortable and it's warm and I've worn it out, and it has the big pom-pom. So that's my third finished object. That pattern was just released yesterday. So if you like your star signs, it's kind of cool. But also just for a basic hat pattern, it was pretty good. I will link it. I'm not sure if it's a paid for pattern or what. I test knit it because I can't listen to myself, which goes to my whips. This year I said no more test knits. I wasn't going to do any test knits. I have now test knit 2 hats, and this past week I signed up for yet another test knit. And that's in the wings, so I'm going to skip to that. I'm going to skip that and wait on that. We'll go over my whips that I have, because if it were an organized podcast, that wouldn't be my podcast. So whips, I still have my pavement. I've done nothing on my pavement, maybe 2 rows, because I cast something else on. But it's coming along. I'm not in any hurry. It doesn't really matter when I get it done because it's 19 degrees out, and if I have 4 other pavements I think I can wear, they are my tunic. Like, I wear them every single day. So it's just such a simple pattern, and it uses fingering, and everybody who's like, I would never make a fingering weight sweater, it's actually just mindless fingering knitting, and it's wonderful. So I do recommend that pattern. I think I'll probably have it done in a couple weeks. I'm gonna have a whole couple days to sit around and do nothing but knit next week, so that's good. The other thing I both cast on and I can't say finished, but made huge progress on, I started a sockhead hat by Kelly McClure, free pattern. I think a lot of people know the sockhead hat, 2x2 ribbing forever, in this case 4 inches, and then there's a foot of stockinette forthcoming. I'm about 3 inches into it. It is, of course, mindless knitting. On Saturday night, I sat and watched a couple movies and just knit, and got through the whole brim on Saturday night. This is a thank you gift for a designer who made our logos for my organization, our anniversary logos, and she loves green, and I do not care for green, and my husband called this camouflage, and it kind of is camouflage, but it is Dream in Color, and it is called Take a Hike, and it was for the Loopy U a couple of years ago for Camp Loopy when I completed everything, and the color is beautiful. There's actually some blues in it, which is kind of cool, but it is just not my wheelhouse. You can see it is very sort of that pond scummy and that brown. I think she'll love it. And I feel good that I used it. I had it going in a 3-color shawl that I didn't like any of the colors, so of course I never knit on it. So I actually just pulled the whole thing out and made made the sockhead hat for her. It'll probably be done in a couple days. There is no rush on this. She is not expecting it. She lives in Arkansas, I think. Arkansas or Alabama. I think it's Arkansas. So her need for a hat isn't great, but she's kind of boho chic and she will like it. It is scrunched into this tiny little wedge bag. I mean, when I say tiny, this thing is, my needles barely fit in it lengthwise, and that's a 16-inch circ. And this bag is sewn by Lindsay.com, and I got it on Etsy. It's just so cute. The other thing that I absolutely, you can see my needles are like piercing through it. The other thing I love about it, which I do not know that it was intentional, is the interior fabric and the handle, have this pattern on it, which is, this happens to be just about 1 inch. So for a sockhead hat, it's absolutely perfect because I don't need an exact inch. There's no, this isn't socks. This isn't a sweater that's gonna hang out over your thumbs or whatever. This is perfect for measuring things because I couldn't find a measuring tape to save my life this week. Even though I have so many of them, I couldn't find one. So that was nice that that worked perfect. My finger does work to a point. It is also not accurate because it's a finger and not a ruler, but that's how I realized that that was 1 inch. So that is my next whip. My final whip is a goat sweater. There's yarn all over the place. A goat sweater. This is the back of it. That's like the bottom. And I'm about to cast on for the legs. You bind off some stitches and pick up and do all sorts of things for the legs. And at first I thought it was going to be too big, and now I'm looking at it going, they are baby goats and they are very small. This is just 2 skeins that are falling apart literally at my feet of Impeccable Loops and Threads, the Michaels store brand that I happen to have sitting around. I have no idea what the dusty blue was used for. The dark blue was used to make a hat for my friend Carrie, a New York Yankees hat. But I don't know what the dusty blue is. I don't have a lot of acrylic. I don't have any bulky except for pink. And I'm not a gender norm person, but it's goats. They're gonna get filthy. So I was looking for dark colors, and I may have to run up tomorrow and grab some black, like Red Heart, just to make a couple more sweaters for her. They are slow. It is on a US 8, so it's not a small needle, but it's 2 strands. And I guess maybe I just don't knit worsted, bulky stuff, except for I had a DK hat and a bulky shawl and now this. But I prefer fingering. I can whip through fingering, and even though it takes longer, it seems to go faster. This is 4 rows to 1 inch, and it still feels like it takes forever, and it's only like 50 stitches across. This is not a big piece. But this will be done this week. I'm hoping I can drop them off maybe Thursday. I get my vaccine on Wednesday. So depending how I feel Wednesday or Thursday, I would love to be able to drive up and drop these off at my friends and get some video and some pictures and play with her wallaby. So there's that. Those are all my on the needles projects of any note. Needle adjacent, and I wanted to start it yesterday, but I started the goat sweater and then we went to the brewery and I came home and was too tired to knit. I mentioned I don't want to test knit anything this year. I don't like being on deadlines. I always overcommit to test knitting and then I kind of don't want to do it. Except for one person who always sucks me in, and that is Lisa Ross, Paper Daisy Creations. She is a rainbow warrior. She knits in all sorts of bright colors and it's absolutely wonderful, and her designs are super fun. And 6 times out of 10 when she has a test knit, I will do it. If it's socks, I probably won't do it. I don't need to test knit socks, but her shawls they're simple and beautiful, but I get sucked into them. So if you look in Vlogmas, in my Vlogmas, I was doing a test knit for her, and I just signed up for Pixel Pop. You can see that. It is a lovely shawl that is garter, so it's mindless, and then these are mosaic. I can do stranded color work, and I'm actually, once I do it a bunch, I'm pretty good at it, but mosaic is so fun, and Lisa does a whole lot of mosaic stuff. It is 5 colors of minis, and then 2 skeins of fingering weight in a main color. And I was gonna do gray, because gray is my neutral, and I have so much gray back there. You can't see it because it's not on camera, but I have like 5 cubes of gray fingering weight yarn there. But then I thought it'd be more fun to do a different neutral. So I knew what I wanted to use for my stripes. I am using Always Be Kind yarn, her mini rainbow set. I am using 5 of the, I think she sent me 8. So I'm using 5, and they pretty much coincide with Lisa's colors. And I'm not very smart when it comes to getting out of this project bag. But you can see bright, bright rainbowy colors. There's kind of a corally pink, a golden yellow, a little bit of muted purple, a bright green, and that kind of sky blue. I'm really excited about that. And then I could have done black, I could have done gray, I could have even done teal. They had a nice marine blue, but I went to my little local yarn store that I haven't been to since we moved over to this side of the town. I've never visited it. It's called Not Just Yarn. And I picked up a very simple navy covered with dog hair, as is my lens, I'm thinking. A navy blue Cascade 220 workhorse yarn to go with this to really bring out, I mean, when you just see how those colors pop against it, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. It's not due till March 10th or something, but I think once I finish those goat sweaters, I will be tearing through this because it's garter, so it's pretty mindless. It's so pretty that I put it in an old Dooney and Bourke PVC bag that I have, that this is like for retail people, because you know you have to have a clear bag when you work in retail so you don't steal anything. But it was just so cute, and I am a Dooney and Bourke aficionado, so I got this for it, and it's bright and colorful, and I can see it as it comes along and as it progresses. And I'm going to knit it on my zings that are equally as colorful. It calls for a 4. I'm a tight knitter, so I always just go up. But that will be coming along this week. So that moves us to acquisitions. And believe it or not, I hardly bought anything this week. I have added like 4,000 yards to my stash, and I have my Artistic Yarn by Abby coming next week, I'm sure, or later this week, the monthly shipment. So I really didn't buy anything except for those 2 skeins of navy, and except for the fact that I couldn't find a measuring tape. My husband works in physical therapy. All the reps come in and give them measuring tapes. I don't know why. They get goniometers, which are like protractors, kind of compasses or protractors. They measure angles. I can't remember what that is. I guess it's a triangle, but it's mobile. But they also bring them a ton of measuring tapes, and he always brings them home to me because they don't need them, and they've got the brand on it, and his hospital doesn't like to have stuff that has anything except for their brand on it. So he always brings me home. But my husband hasn't been at work in 2 weeks, and he won't be going back for probably 3 weeks. So I had to order a tape measure or 2. I was just like, forget it, I need tape measures. And when I order things, I don't just order a little bit. Like, I used to go to my little local yarn store, they're no longer in business, and I would buy 10 or 20 bulb stitch markers in cute colors. But then I found out, capitalism is what it is, that I could get for the same price as 20 or 40 of them. I could get 1,000 from Amazon. And so a few months ago, I bought 1,000 stitch markers. But then I lost them in the move, and we moved here. So I needed stitch markers, so I bought another set. And then, you know, a week after they came, I found the old one. So now I have 2,000 stitch markers. And yet there's a part of me that's like, oh, don't use the purple ones because you only have 50 of them. This was like $20 for all of these stitch markers. I really don't need to worry when I drop $50 at the yarn store without a problem. Or I needed buttons because when I do my hats, I always put a button to secure the pom-pom so you can take it off if you want. But I can't just buy like 5 buttons on a card, because even though I hate knitting hats and I still knit hats, but I don't enjoy them, I bought 100 buttons because Lord knows they were just so cute. I needed 100 buttons. Also, they're really thin little holes, so you have to use a needle threader to do that. But so when I needed tape measures, I couldn't just buy 1 tape measure. That was like $2.99, but for $8.99, I could get 10 tape measures. So I am now the proud owner of a rainbow of tape measures in every single color, but that's fine. It was $10.99, and I'm really hoping that they're American inches. I don't know if you guys know that they appear to be American inches based on my finger. That if you order a tape measure from China, sometimes they are short on inches, and this is particularly true with those soft fabric rulers. I did not know that when I started sewing, which was a very short-lived venture. And my measurements were always off because my sewing machine came with a long tape measure, or like the kit that I bought that had like all the stuff that you need to start sewing. So these are fine. These work. These will just help me. And now I have 10 of them, so I cannot worry about losing them, and they're in every possible color. So they will go in my magic notions drawer here with everything else. And that's all I bought. So not that I'm proud of myself for that, but there just wasn't a lot that I needed. I have been ogling lots of yarn, but I look here and I have so much to do with all of these colors. And I know that I'm getting a row 1 minis. That'll come at the end of the month. And then I will be getting my Artistic Yarn by Abby monthly shipment this month, but I'm already behind because I've been doing other things for socks. And also now I'm on this leg warmer kick and maybe just doing shorty socks. So I don't know. So that's my knitting stuff. I'm going to move on to the life stuff. So if that does not interest you, because my life is pretty boring, thanks for coming by. Going to talk a little bit. I don't watch TV. And I don't mean that in a I don't watch TV. It just bores me. My husband puts it on for background noise. I love sports. Sports are my background noise, but there's really no sports. There's a deal in Colorado where we can't even see our hockey team because there's a fight between the owner of the hockey team also owns the network they're on, and there's a fight between them and Comcast, and we are Comcast, and I have no desire to go to Dish Network, and Comcast does my internet and all that, so I don't get to see my hockey team. So Saturday night, there wasn't hockey anyway, but we were chill, we were snuggling, and I came upstairs and I put on the TV and I watched movies. And I don't watch a lot of movies. And when I watch movies, I want dumb movies. My husband loves World War II stuff. He watched Band of Brothers all weekend. He has seen Band of Brothers 95 times. And he makes fun of me because if a Seinfeld comes on, I will watch it again, even though I could probably recite it verbatim. But I came upstairs and watched 2 movies, neither of which I've watched. One, which was on my list, which is Late Night, which has, I'm drawing Emma Thompson. I was drawing a blank on her name. Emma Thompson. I love her. She is just an amazing actress. Emma Thompson and Mandy Kaling and from The Office. And it was absolutely adorable and cute and wonderful. And I love that. And then thank goodness that Amazon and Netflix and all those, if you like this, you might like this. And so I scrolled through I can't call them chick flicks, but they were feel-good female lead movies. And I found the most amazing movie called Don't Talk to Irene. And it's a Canadian movie. And it stars Gina Davis, and it's hilarious. It doesn't really star her. She's the narrator, sort of. And if you like shows like Ugly Betty and Super Fun Night, you would absolutely love this movie. It is about the fat girl. That's what they call her in the description, is the fat girl in school, and she gets suspended and she just makes the most of her time. And it's just an adorable feel-good movie. It does have language, so if you're watching it with your kids, it's good. It's a good kid movie, except for the language. So I don't know, I don't have kids, but it was I can't stop thinking about it. I could watch it again. So I highly recommend that. It was on, I think I watched it on Amazon. So Don't Talk to Irene. So it was great. So I did that and I knit my sock head, and then that's it. I read boring fundraising books because I'm starting a fundraising class tomorrow. I probably know the stuff, and again, that's not I know the stuff, but I've been doing this for 25 years, so I know the stuff, but in this new organization that I've been at for 18 months, I feel like we have a lot of work to do, baseline work, and I need to do that baseline work myself. And by taking this course, I think it's going to push me into actually doing the work that sometimes I'm too lazy to do. And so I'm excited about that. So that class starts, and so I read the book that goes along with the class that they encourage you. I've taken several classes, so I've read the book, but I read it again. And then I have some handbooks to read later this afternoon, and then we get our first group call tomorrow. So it'll be nice. It's a peer call. And I really just need to kick myself into gear. This organization has amazingly deep supporters, but we don't thank them, tap them, know anything about them unless, and actually we don't even know if they're there because someone they love was in the program. So it just means I have to pick up the phone and do things, but this gives me deadlines to do things. So sometimes I need that. I'm really lucky that people love our program, but we could be making 10 times the money we're making. So on that note, after I did a Facebook Live last week at work, we started talking. It's our 45th year in existence as an organization. It is not our 45th anniversary. I've been trying to explain that to people because I have been married for 26 years and we celebrated our 25th anniversary and we moved into our 26th year. And people do not seem to understand that your anniversary is always a year behind. So I am making it very clear that we are celebrating 45 years of people helping people in recovery. So we were having a big discussion around 45 and what we could do for 45. And I keep touching my hair for a reason, because despite having a horrible hair day today, my hair is probably one of my favorite features. Before my husband tinted his windows, when I would do straight hair, which I had until the beginning of the pandemic, I never knew I had curls. I would sit there and look in the mirror, the rearview mirror, and look at my hair. And I just loved my hair, and it was always so sleek, and it was just this great natural color. And now, of course, I dye it, and it's curly, but my boss asked me if I would shave my head if I raised $45,000, and I gladly said yes. And so I am going to be starting a campaign in March to raise $45,000 for my organization. And if I raise 45, I will shave my head. And if I raise 46, I probably won't. Or 50, I might put it something like that. But I'm actually kind of excited, and I want to raise $45,000 because it gives me an excuse to shave my head, because I'm really curious what it would come back like. And this way I don't have to get some horrible disease and go through chemotherapy or something to find out. Also, my husband is supportive of it, except for the fact if I just said I wanted to shave my head today, he would think I was crazy. He wouldn't stop me, but he would think I was crazy. So I don't really want to shave my head, because even on bad hair days, I love my hair. But there will be a link probably in the next couple of podcasts. You obviously do not have to give, but I'm really excited by it. It gave me a new sort of lease on this goal for the year. And then some other folks at work. I had a colleague who is younger than me, redhead, and she said she would shave her eyebrows. I am not shaving my eyebrows because I am of an age where my eyebrows will never come back. And so, no, I will not shave my eyebrows. I don't even know if my hair will come back. I imagine it will. So that's, she's going to shave her eyebrows. I had another guy say he would shave anything. When the men come into our program, they shave their heads anyway. But he's an alumni and he works for us. And so maybe we'll shave our heads together. It was just really exciting to hear other people saying they would do things a little crazy, to help raise money for my organization. And I posted it on Facebook and Twitter, and people just jumped on it. So 45,000 is a lot. I don't know 1,000 people to donate $45, but maybe you do. I don't know 45 people to donate 1,000. So we're gonna see where that goes, but I'm really excited. And even the residents got into it. I have some residents who are more advanced in the program, and they're working on raising $4,500 through video campaigns. They're not going to shave their heads or do anything like that. They're just going to do what I do, and that's say how important recovery is to them. But that's really exciting for me. So who knows, maybe in July. I'm going to give it till July because I wouldn't mind having a shaved head in the summer. I'm going to give it till July, probably July 4th or something, to raise the money, and then it'll be short and pixie in the winter again. I will say, even though I'm older, my hair has been growing pretty quickly, so I'm hoping that with taking lots of biotin and stuff, it'll grow back fast. Or if I raise like $50,000, I wouldn't have to shave it at all. So that's my work story that's going on. Downers, or what do I call them? I call them meh, or leaves. My husband is having hip replacement surgery. I mentioned that last week that he needed it. They moved it up to next Tuesday, which is super fantastic. And we found this out last Monday, I think, which meant it was like 2 weeks. It wasn't going to be that bad. It's been the longest week, and we still have a week and a day to go. He is so miserable. He's on 2 crutches now, non-weight bearing. Pain makes you cranky. Pain makes you really cranky. Thankfully, he won't take any drugs, which is good. And now he can't take any drugs because he's a week out from surgery, but that makes him miserable. I am fortunate melatonin works for him a little bit. It gets him to fall asleep. He doesn't stay asleep. He's up at 2 every morning. But so that sucks. Pain sucks. And anybody who's going through pain, I am so sorry. Or if you have fibro, so sorry. I know it's awful, but living with it has been a nightmare. So I can't imagine how he feels. I feel like so selfish saying this, but it has made my life challenging, so I can't imagine how challenging his life is. And then I'll go back to COVID. COVID. I am trying to get my mother a vaccine, and I can't say that she's helping. She does not want to go to a drugstore to get her. I'm not going to a supermarket to get my vaccine. However, that's where you can get them right now for her age and her the fact that she is a healthcare worker. I'm like, but you could just go to Sam's Club. She's like, I'm not going to a Walmart brand. Or you could go to Safeway. I'm not going in a store to get mine. And partially it's my fault because I didn't want her going to a drive-through because I was afraid if she went to anaphylaxis or something, that I just didn't feel they were well enough manned. Like I'd rather have her in an office building or whatever. So now we're trying to find one. And before the surgery, my husband has said, if it happens, if we can find one and we have to drive down to her house and drive her out to Fort Lupton or wherever we have to go to get her the shot, we will do it. So he's being super sweet that way. But I'm tired of it. If you are looking for a vaccine, go to vaccinehunters.org, I think it's called, and check at Facebook for your local vaccine hunters, because there's a group in Colorado and they are nailing down, they are posting anytime there are slots available. The other thing I have learned is that slots open at midnight. I am a morning person. I do not get up. I don't go to bed. I go to bed super early. I'm not up at midnight. And the insomnia for us doesn't kick in until 2 a.m., so that's not very helpful. But if you go at midnight, all the stores open their slots. So if you're an eligible person for a vaccine, at 12:01, check your Kroger, check your Walmart, check your Sam's Club, whatever, and you may be able to get a vaccine. So that's good news on that front. On my yays, I kind of mentioned some of my yays, but even though it is 0 degrees out, spring is right around the corner here, and I can feel it. We can hear birds chirping a little bit more. They got a little psyched out by the warm weather followed by the cold weather, but getting through February, my birthday is in February, and it kind of sucks because I hate February. February, when I was in college, even though it's the shortest month, it's always the month that I have no money for some reason. It is always, when I get to my budget, I am out of my budget of my spending cash long before it, and it's only 4 weeks long, but I can go through a 31-day month without a problem. I still feel that way a little. It is just a long, long month, but we are making it through, and when we get 2 weeks from now, we'll be in March, and it'll be wonderful. So the other thing is, my other yay is that it is my birthday month, and I am starting, this is where I get to be greedy, my presents are starting to roll in. We are not having a surprise birthday party or any birthday party of any sort because the man is having surgery 4 days before. So I'm kind of glad because that took the need for this party away. But then I found out that my friend who has the brewery, who was going to give us the whole brewery, and then the manager and this and that, she got full control of the brewery this week. She became a full owner of the brewery, and that might make her the first solo female-owned brewer in Denver. I don't know, I'm making that up, but I'm really excited for her for that. So if you're in the metro area or you're in Colorado, visit Gold Spot, and Calissa is my friend there. But as I was saying, my gifts are starting to roll in. So my sister, she said, I sent you a goofy gift. She sent me a very practical Christmas gift. She sent me an Apple gift card so I could get my iPad. But my sister knows deep down I'm super preppy, and she is preppy. A couple of years ago, she sent me a monogram necklace with my CEP, with my initials on it. I don't wear it that often because I'm preppy, but I don't know. Also, I always just wear this little diamond. So, but she bought me a few months ago I found Bermuda bags on Facebook and I posted them and said, who remembers their Bermuda bags? I'm aging myself right now because a lot of you are probably like, what? What is a Bermuda bag? They were wonderful purses in the 70s and 80s, and you could change the look of the purse. It's a wooden handle where you could change the look of the purse by changing the handle. So I got a monogrammed Bermuda bag from Mark and Graham, which is a preppy little retailer. I had never heard of them before this. I mean, maybe I did because maybe I got the ad on Facebook and posted it, but my sister was paying so much attention to my Facebook feed when I said this. So I'm really excited. Yes, it has my initial on one side, and on the other it is blank and it is blue. You can wash these. These buttons are real, so you take off the, you take it off and you can wash it. And there are patterns out there to sew them. I don't sew, but I know people who sew. So maybe I can find some, or I can find some vintage ones on eBay. I have seen vintage covers on eBay. And it was so cute because everyone from my high school and grade school jumped on this when I posted on Facebook that I got it. Everybody was like, oh, is that from Pappagallo? Which was a 70s preppy brand. And I was like, no, but even a guy asked me if it was from Pappagallo, which I loved. It's just who I was growing up, super preppy. So, so that's starting to come in. And it's just kind of, I keep talking about my birthday, but almost just because it's around all of my friends' birthdays. I have friends, one of my best friends from pre-K, his birthday is today. My soulmate, best friend from middle and high school, her name is Carrie. She's on the 22nd, I'm on the 27th. We had the exact same eyeglasses prescription. We used to get each other's grades in the mail. People confused us. We don't look alike. She's got dark hair and blue eyes. But everybody confused us, and then the fact that we were good friends and actually even lived together in college didn't help. So her birthday's the 22nd. My friend Misty's is the 26th. My friend Lisa's is the 28th. So there's all these birthdays coming up, and I'm a yay on that and celebrating that we made it through another year. So those are my yays. Spring is coming, people. Keep knitting, be happy. It's hard when it's cold. It's super easy to be grumpy when it's cold. And I just keep thinking it's going to be super hot and we're going to be complaining how hot it is soon enough. Hopefully I'll have a shaved head when it's super hot, but until then, I'm just going to go with it. Also, when it's super cold, you can wear all the hand knits. Last week I had on hand knit socks, hand leg warmers, a hand knit sweater, and a shawl over that, and I wore a hat into the office all at once. Was it like hand knit puke? Absolutely, but I was warm, and everybody noticed. And we even have a male resident who's like in his 30s who knits and crochets, who came up to me and was like, I've been told to find you because I crochet. And we talked fiber for like half an hour, and he's a fiber snob, and it's just so wonderful because I got to wear all that stuff. So stay positive, test negative, and I will talk to you next week, probably pre-surgery, because I will probably be pretty antsy. And if all goes as planned, I will finish some goat sweaters and maybe we'll have some goat video. I don't think I'll have anything else major finished, but the goat sweaters will make up for all of it, I think. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, I will just be home knitting, in the hospital knitting and home knitting. So the week after that, I should have lots of finished objects. I hope everything goes well for you this week. Stay positive, test negative, and I will see you in a week.